Capital One Arena. So Al, why don't you take it away? Have some fun with the boys.
Well, Lexa, we get two defensemen from the NHL for the price of one, with Jakob here and his dad, Jeff. Bart's 8th season in the National Hockey League. And Jake, I always liked the way your dad played. The problem was he always played for the wrong teams. Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. At least you've kind of straightened the Chychrun family out with some Capital connection now, too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure my pops was, what'd you say when I got traded?
I've taken a lot of heat in the Patrick division with my friends throughout the Northeast.
Yeah.
But, pretty thrilled he's here in Washington.
Yeah, it's been great.
When did you get an idea? Because after Jeff had stopped playing, you were born a few years after that. When did you get a sense of what your dad's career had been?
A lot of fight tapes. Growing up, watching a lot of fight tapes. Those were kind of his highlight videos, were the fight tapes with the 3 goals mixed in. So yeah, it was good. It was fun. It was crazy kind of to watch Pops, as a young kid, just kind of playing the way he did. But, there was the goal. I remember watching that one a lot. And, yeah, it's, you got to give him a lot of credit for playing the game that way. And it's a tough way to make a living. And it was great, growing up. He always preached, to me and my teammates, the skill side of the game. And he wanted us to go out and have fun and play with the puck and be creative and work on, just about everything that we could in practice and play every position. And yeah, he just wanted us to have fun.
It's nice to see number 6 stay in the family. Jeff, when did you want Jake to go into the family business?
I think I stopped playing hockey for about a year after my career ended, but then sort of picked it up about a year later and had some fun with a lot of my friends down in South Florida. Sort of stayed in it. My dad played till he was 84 years old, just retired a year and a half ago. But yeah, I just enjoyed the game. So I was around the rink. Panthers had built a new practice facility in Coral Springs, and I thought, started taking him out at an early age. And Skate with Stanley was the name of the initiation program, and he just took to it like most of the kids probably do at this level.
South Florida, though, not a hotbed at that time of hockey. So how did you kind of encourage him to get involved in that? Well,
I got involved coaching the older kids, the 90s, the 91s. I had the 92 Florida Junior Panthers. At one time, Peter Worrell was coaching. Dwayne Sutter had the one club. He just lost a job with the Panthers. And I just being in that environment, asked to coach at some point, and just followed through with Jakob as he progressed and got a little bit older.
And not only did we get Jakob Chychrun out of South Florida, we got Brandon Duhaime. Yeah. You guys playing together. What was that experience like?
Oh, it was great. I mean, I think we always had pretty good groups in Florida for the, like you said, being a non-traditional hockey market. I think we always had some skill and Dewey was always a workhorse for us. He plays the game the same way now that he did when he was a kid, and plays a honest, hard-working game, and he can really play. I mean, he can, he shows flashes of skill and just really smart and wants to do everything he can to contribute for this group, and he's been a big part of this success that we've had early on.
So Jeff, as a coach, when did you get a sense that Brandon and Jake could actually make their mark in this game?
They both loved to go to practice and do a lot of extra stuff when they were younger. So always had a bit of a feeling, just the skill level they brought, their love for having the puck on their stick, and I guess ultimately the way they both skated and competed. We just tried to facilitate and give them an opportunity, get them to the rink as often as we could. We had to travel a lot in Florida, so a lot of sacrifice on our parts and the Duhaime's part to do that. But it was a love affair for all of us, right? Nothing better. Eventually we started going to Fort Myers for practices, and those car rides over were pretty special to us.
Right. Well, it obviously paid off, and I can only imagine what the emotions must have been like on draft day when your son gets selected in the first round by the Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah, it was a lifelong journey for all of us, and a real family moment, like you said, Al. We're all proud.
Yeah, what was that, to know what your mom and dad had gone through? What was that like for you on that day to have it all culminate?
Yeah, it was great. I think just a lot of excitement. It's great having the whole family there, grandpa and close friends and the whole family. So, yeah, looking back, just great memories, and I really enjoyed my time in Arizona. And yeah, like I said, it was just nice, special moments with the family.
So that meant we had two Chychruns playing in the National Hockey League. I know we've got some of the stats for both of you guys to pull up, and I think I did see that there was, as Jake referred to, a little bit difference in the goals. And Jake, you'd also have to admit you're going to have to go a long way to catch in the Pims.
Yeah, and I've already got a few seasons on him, so yeah, I don't know if I'll get there for the Pims, but we'll see. You never know.
Well, I always meant to score 50 goals here, but then they would have expected the expectations would have been tough to live up to.
It's a different era, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a different era. Yeah.
I mean, when you watch the game now, and again, watching how well the Capitals are playing, you see now Jake is a teammate of Alex Ovechkin. We watch this New Jersey team spin around the ice tonight. Can you imagine trying to deal with some of these guys back in the day?
That's fun. I mean, I don't know how they defend sometimes. They're coming so fast. I don't know how the goalies stop the pucks. I can barely see it. But the skill level, I think that's the greatest part of it, and at high tempo, high speed, and I think that's what the fans love about this game so much.
Well, speaking of which, we mentioned your time in the Patrick Division, playing with the Philadelphia Flyers, playing later on with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So you had to go head-to-head with some pretty good Capital teams in those late 80s. What was it like going against the Dale Hunters and the Dino Cicerellis of the world as a defenseman? That's a kind of a different challenge than sometimes Jake has to go through these days.
They were so deep, too, with Rod on the blue line, Kevin Hatcher, Calle Johansson, Larry Murphy, Beaupre, and Peters in goal. They were just great clubs. Kelly Miller, Mike Ridley, just great hockey teams, and it was the Cap Center was a difficult place to come in and play them in the playoffs. They showed up. They were big, physical. I didn't like Craig Berube on the Capitals. I preferred him on the Flyers.
Yeah, there were some tough guys there. Here's the nightmare that Dino Cicerelli always supplied. We've got a guy back in the studio, Alan May, who I know, Jeff, you would have a few battles with as well.
Yeah, Alan was, we started in Maine and Hershey, a couple of nights up in Portland, and some great battles. But I think that's what made the Flyer Capital games. I mean, it all started the American Hockey League.
Well, it certainly did. But, one of the things, Jacob, you're giving your dad a hard time about not scoring a lot of goals and watching that one goal over and over. Well, he played his entire career with a broken hockey stick, because all I know is every time I played the Philadelphia Flyers, I went head-to-head with your dad, and he had cross-checked me in this right tricep, which was actually awesome to walk into a bar with, except I have my suit on. It'd be different in the summer. But he played such a rugged style. You guys would be the perfect defense pair, old school or even now, having a big giant guy like that. So I always appreciated how your dad played the game. Would have been a great teammate to have with us. It would have taken some of the load off of my shoulders, not to mention he's like 6'8" or whatever he is. And at the same time, Jeff, does your son, has he gotten you to start like doing the avocado milkshakes and all of this stuff that I see on his Instagram page?
I've adjusted my diet a little bit. But I have limits in what I can do, Alan. It's got to be simple for me.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? Hey, I've been really happy to get to know you guys, and it just goes to show how great the game of hockey is. Jeff and I had a lot of battles over the time, and we became, I guess, on social media we started to communicate. And the first day that Jacob was traded here, the first text or DM I got was from Jeff saying we finally get to have a beer together, and we're bitter enemies when we played. I don't know if we ever played a game where we didn't do something to each other, Jeff. But as soon as you meet these guys off the ice, the game is so great. It's like we were best of friends alumni weekend, Jeff. And thank you for being such a great guy.
Thanks, Alan. Pleasure to be here.
Well, Alan brings up a good point about, that you would be the perfect pair with each other. What do you admire most about Jake's game? And Jake, what did you, when you watched your dad play, what was the thing that you'd say, man, I wish I could kind of carry that with me as well?
Well, to me, you talk about courage, right? And, Alan and I, we had to play a big sort of courageous game, I guess. He had a difficult, ugly game. But I think courage is having the courage to have that puck in the middle of the ice when, there's game on the line. You saw tonight how important it was for those guys to get those opportunities late in the game and give the club a chance to tie it up. Those are the times I wish I could have played a lot more, and that's something I admire in my son.
Thanks, Pops. Yeah, I think I touched on it. Just playing, you always respect the guys that every night are playing the game hard and doing what they have to do at times, even, if they might not necessarily want to. It's I remember always hearing my pops talk about, a lot of nervous naps and knowing, who you're going toe-to-toe with that night. And, that's, like I said, it's a tough way to make a living in this game, and a lot of guys have done it. I think he did it really well. And also just hearing from a lot of his ex-teammates how great of a teammate he was, and it's awesome seeing him at alumni events. People just run up to him and want to see him and hug him and chat with him, and I think it's really cool to see, just the mark he left on his time with his teammates, and yeah, that's what I really admired about him.
Jeff, Jake, thank you so much for taking time. I know we got the men's trip coming up. You guys, I know, don't get a chance to spend much time together during the season, so enjoy these next few days. Appreciate you being with us.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Al. Appreciate it.